What if the reason you feel older isn't just the years? It's a specific molecule quietly running out. Not a vitamin, not a mineral. Something your body made in abundance when you were young and has been losing ever since, by 80% by the time most people reach their 60s. Most doctors won't mention it, but a landmark study in one of the most respected journals on the planet says it might be one of the most important molecules for how you age. And the best source of it isn't a pill, it's on the menu at your favorite seafood restaurant. Welcome to Second Prime, where science meets your second chapter. I'm going to walk you through one of the most exciting discoveries in aging biology in recent years, connect it to real food you can buy today, and give you a practical action step you can take by dinner time. Let's start with what's actually happening inside your cells when you're over 60, not the surface stuff, the wrinkles, the gray hair, the deeper machinery. Scientists who study aging have identified 5 core hallmarks. First, mitochondrial dysfunction. Your cellular power plants produce less energy and more waste. Second, DNA damage accumulation. Errors pile up faster than your cells can fix them. Third, cellular senescence. Some cells stop dividing but refuse to die. They sit there releasing inflammatory signals. Researchers call them zombie cells. Fourth, stem cell exhaustion. The cells that replenish your tissues lose their punch. And fifth, loss of proteostasis. Your protein quality control breaks down. Misfolded proteins accumulate. Here's the critical point. Most people treat the symptoms of aging, the aches, the fatigue, the brain fog. This video is about the causes. And there is a molecule that targets all 5 of these hallmarks simultaneously. Now here's something most people don't realize. Your cells aren't passive. Every night while you sleep, they run a massive repair program. Autophagy kicks in. That's your cellular housekeeping system, breaking down damaged proteins and recycling them. Mitochondria go into repair mode. DNA error correction enzymes get to work. This process is most active during the fasting state, which is exactly what happens overnight. It's one of the reasons sleep deprivation is so damaging at the cellular level. You're cutting off the repair window. But here's the part that stops me cold. All of those repair processes require molecular fuel. They don't run on nothing. And one of the most important fuels, an amino acid your body once made in abundance, has been quietly depleting for decades by the time you're 60. The molecule is taurine. And if you've only heard of taurine in the context of energy drinks, set that aside entirely. Taurine is one of the most abundant free amino acids in the human body. It's found in your heart, your brain, your muscles, your eyes. In youth, your body makes it and gets it from food. In 2023, a team led by Vijay Yadav at Columbia University published a study in Science. And what they found was striking. Taurine levels decline by more than 80% between youth and old age, across mice, monkeys, and humans. That's not a modest dip. When they restored taurine in middle-aged mice, median lifespan increased by 10 to 12%. That's a huge number in aging research. They also saw improved bone density, increased muscle strength, reduced zombie cell markers, better immune function, and less age-related weight gain. Now, the human evidence is still early. I want to be honest, A 2025 study in aging Cell found no direct correlation between circulating taurine and muscle mass or strength in people. So this isn't a closed case, but the mechanisms are real, the animal data is compelling, and human trials are actively running. Let's get into the how. Most molecules do one thing. Taurine works on multiple aging pathways at once. On mitochondria, taurine stabilizes the inner membrane, helping your cellular power plants run cleaner and produce more ATP with less oxidative waste. Think of it as tuning the engine. On cellular senescence, 2025 research found taurine mitigates the zombie cell problem through a p53-dependent pathway, suppressing the inflammatory signals those cells release. On DNA damage, taurine supports the antioxidant defenses that protect your DNA from free radical attack. And on stem cells, the Yadav paper showed taurine helped maintain stem cell activity in aged animals, which connects directly to tissue renewal. Now here's the piece that ties everything to sleep. Taurine acts on GABA-A receptors. In the thalamus, the deep brain structure that governs your sleep-wake cycle, Cornell researchers described taurine as extraordinarily active on GABA receptors there. More taurine, calmer nervous system, deeper sleep, wider repair window. Better taurine, better sleep. Better sleep, better cellular repair. That's the loop. Before I get to the exact foods and how much, and the supplement question, which is more nuanced than most people realize, I want to explain why taurine is different from every other anti-aging molecule story you've heard, because most of them are chasing something new. Taurine is something your body always had. And if you're finding this valuable, hit subscribe. We do this every Monday and Thursday. Here's where taurine gets genuinely exciting for a food-first approach. The richest sources are delicious. Let's run through them. Scallops hit 827 milligrams per 100 grams, the highest concentration of any food. A standard serving covers a substantial dose. Mussels deliver 655 milligrams per 100 grams. Clams, 520 milligrams. Oysters, around 396. These are all remarkable concentrations. Shrimp are excellent and practical, about 225 milligrams per 100 grams, easy to cook at home. Tuna is a standout. Dark meat tuna can reach close to 1,000 milligrams per 100 grams. Canned tuna still delivers roughly 176 milligrams. Now the poultry revelation that surprises most people. Chicken breast has only about 18 milligrams per 100 grams. Chicken thighs and drumsticks, around 170 milligrams. Turkey dark meat reaches 306. If you always choose chicken breast, you're leaving most of the taurine behind. One important flag: plant-based diets contain essentially no taurine. If that's you, the supplement question becomes more pressing, and I'll address it in a moment. If that chicken statistic surprised you, give this a like. It really does help us reach more people. Let's close the loop on the sleep connection. Your cellular repair window opens during the overnight fast. But taurine doesn't just fuel the repair machinery. It also sets the stage by acting on GABA-A receptors in the thalamus. Adequate taurine shifts your nervous system towards sleep readiness. Deeper sleep stages. Longer time in restorative phases where cellular repair is most active. Here's the practical insight. Taurine is water-soluble, which means your body doesn't store large reserves. What you eat gets absorbed and used relatively quickly. Eating taurine-rich food at dinner, rather than breakfast, means those amino acids are circulating right as your repair system activates. Not magic, not an overnight transformation, but over weeks and months, consistently fueling that system before it runs is a fundamentally different approach than leaving it dry. So what does the protocol actually look like? Aim for 3 to 4 servings of taurine-rich food per week at dinner. A bowl of mussels delivers well over 600 milligrams. A tuna steak reaches similar levels. Chicken thighs twice a week, shrimp once, shellfish once, and you're dramatically ahead of where most people over 60 are right now. On supplements, the Yadav study used them in animal models, and 25 human randomized controlled trials have shown taurine at 500 milligrams to 6 grams daily reduces blood pressure, fasting glucose, and triglycerides, all aging biomarkers. For vegetarians, vegans, or anyone who genuinely can't eat seafood regularly, 500 to 1,000 milligrams in the evening is a reasonable option based on current evidence. Taurine has an excellent safety profile at these doses. That said, talk to your doctor before adding any new supplement, especially if you take medications. And just so you know, some links in the description are affiliate links. No extra cost to you, but it helps keep the channel running. Here's what I keep coming back to with taurine. It's not a trendy molecule. It's one of the most abundant amino acids in the human body in youth, present in high concentrations in the heart, brain, muscles, and immune cells. For decades, we studied it mainly in athletes and cardiac patients. The Yadav paper was a pivot. It asked what happens when it runs out. And in animals, the answer looks a lot like accelerated aging. The science pipeline is accelerating now. Human clinical trials are actively measuring taurine against aging biomarkers. The mechanisms are being mapped in more detail than ever. And unlike most longevity interventions, which require drugs, expensive protocols, or extreme lifestyle changes, this one fits on a dinner plate, a bowl of mussels, a piece of tuna, a chicken thigh instead of a breast. That is genuinely accessible science. So here's the bottom line. Taurine drops 80% as you age. It targets 5 cellular aging pathways and also primes the sleep system that runs your overnight repair. Shellfish, dark meat fish, and dark poultry at dinner is the most practical way to feed that system before it activates. The human science isn't finished, but the mechanisms are real and the food comes with zero downside. Here's my question for you. Will this change what you put on your plate this week? Or did you already eat shellfish regularly? Drop it in the comments. I read every one, and I'll pin the most interesting responses. If you want the full picture on foods with the strongest longevity science,